If you've only seen the headlines or just haven't understood the details, don't worry. But if you're in the UK, the decisions made by this woman will affect you, down to how much you might get paid, how much that paycheck goes to the government, how easy it is for you to save up, and how much gas and electricity could cost you.
I recognise that we are asking people to contribute more.
I watched the whole thing while we streamed it live, and I'm going to go through a few of the measures that got you talking, have a look at the questions you asked, and put some of them to our experts in Westminster. So, minimum wage. Now, this one was already announced, but it is worth us going over it again. And it essentially means millions of people are going to get a pay rise from next April. So if you're under 18 or an apprentice, it'll go up by 45p to £8 an hour. If you're between 18 and 20, it'll go up by 85p to £10.85 an hour. And if you're over 21, it'll go up by 50p to £12.71. There were also a couple of changes to benefits that have caught people's eyes. Some families that are receiving universal credit will be helped by the scrapping of the two-child benefit cap from April.
So the two-child benefit cap is a shorthand for a restriction that was brought in under the Tories, which means that parents can't claim universal credit or tax credits for more than two children. So a third child or any subsequent children, they don't get those benefits. Now, it's been a big issue within the Labour Party. There's been a lot of pressure from Labour backbenchers.
Families with more than two children will get an extra £5,310 per year on average. The other scheme is called Help to Save. It's an existing scheme which will now be made permanent that's aimed at encouraging people on low incomes to save. So if you're on universal credit and are getting paid for a job, you can open up an account and save up to £50 a month. And after 2 years, you'll get a bonus on top. So on to what was announced today. The government said it's going to put £820 million over the next 3 years towards a youth guarantee. But what is actually being guaranteed?
Well, the government said today it's going to put £820 million into it over the next 3 years, and that's a scheme which guarantees 18 to 21-year-olds either an apprenticeship, a college place, or some personal job support. Now, if after that, after 18 months, you're still not in employment, they're going to say, we're going to offer you paid work rather than benefits. Now, some people say, that's great, I want a job. Other people say, you're trying to force me off benefits. There's a bit of carrot, a bit of stick on that.
And the government are hoping to create more apprenticeships too, by funding them for small and medium-sized businesses, essentially making them free. As a reminder, the number of young people in the UK who are not in education, employment or training has been above 900,000 since the beginning of 2024. You're probably thinking about the cost of living too, and the Chancellor says she knows it's people's main concern. She says that's why they're going to cut £150 from the average yearly household energy bill from April, by cutting something called the Eco Energy Scheme. But there wasn't much more information about this, so keep an eye out. Cost of living is still pretty high compared with before the pandemic, so you'll still be paying high prices in the shops. So did income tax go up? No, but the Chancellor did just take a chunk out of your future payslip. That's because she announced a freeze on tax thresholds for another 3 years. So what does that actually mean?
So what the government has done is it's frozen the threshold, the amount of money over which you start paying income tax. It's been frozen at £12,500 a year for a number of years now, and they're going to freeze it right out to 2031. Now, if you are even on national living wage, minimum wage, and you're doing a full-time job, you are going to be paying tax. And even if you're in part-time employment, if you're earning over £12,500 and you're seeing these wages, more and more people are going to start getting caught by income tax. So yes, more people than ever will be paying basic rate income tax. And if you're a little bit older and you're earning more money, more people will be actually paying the higher rate of income tax. Basically, every extra pound you make, they're taking a bit more of a piece out of it. So that's why it's called a stealth tax.
Tax thresholds were frozen in 2021 by the Conservatives. Back then, Rachel Reeves accused them of picking the pockets of working people. And if you're a student, you could start paying more of your student loan back sooner. That's because the thresholds where you have to start paying the loan back will be frozen from 2027 to 28. So again, if your pay goes up in that time and more of your wage goes above that threshold, you'll end up having to pay back more of that loan from your monthly paycheck. So there are a few more announcements, and I'll just tick them off in case you missed them. Rail fares in England are going to be frozen until March 2027. That doesn't mean they're going down, it's just that they won't go up. From April 2027, the amount of money you can save tax-free each year in a cash ISA will be reduced from £20,000 to £12,000 for under 65s. The government say they want you to invest that remaining £8,000 instead. And if you shop on Shein and Temu, then this one might impact you in the future. Because the government are closing a loophole where importing small packages under £135 from overseas didn't face an extra fee. meaning you could see high prices. And here's what the other political party leaders had to say about the budget.
Last year, she put up taxes by £40 billion, the biggest tax raid in British history. She promised that she wouldn't be back for more. She swore it was a one-off. She told everyone that from now on, it would be stability and she would pay for everything with growth. Today, she has broken every single one of those promises. If she had any decency, she would resign.
This budget, the tax burden will hit an all-time high.
One thing that was very clear to me watching the budget was that we are in an economic doom loop and no one seems to recognise it.
And what we've had today is a Chancellor who has effectively squeezed everybody by freezing the income tax thresholds, and she hasn't taken that decision to tax wealth fairly.